Hey, what's going on, guys? So today I'm going to be getting into episode 6 of Avatar The Last Airbender. I kind of took some notes to give some stuff to my memory and kind of boost it a little bit here. So, yeah, to start things off, they just came from the Earth City from last episode and they're kind of camping off. We're just going to say they're far away from the area, and while they're camping, they're talking about how their food source is kind of limited to two different kinds of nuts rather than actual like meat and vegetables and fruits. So they're kind of talking about that. From there, we hear this like boom, and instead of running away from it, they go towards it. Sokka says. So they go off to it, and we see off in the distance that there's this boy, and he's earthbending, and they're all just kind of watching. And Katara tries to greet the boy, but the boy kind of just stops all at once, and he runs off. And as he runs off, he takes all these boulders and he earthbends them down. And Aang, Katara, and Sokka, they have this idea of, oh, maybe we should go to this town that this boy might be going towards. He might be going towards the town, and they're looking for food. So they go to the town, and while they're there, Aang basically goes and he trades for like this hat for some of the nuts. And from there, we see the boy go off into this building, and he's talking to his mom, and his mom was like, "Where you gone off to?" And the boy was just kind of like, I guess, kind of lying to her in some type of way. Katara actually sees the boy, and he follows through and goes inside the building. And Katara asks him what he was doing, and his mom's kind of shocked, and she knows what he was doing. He was more than likely earthbending. And the whole conversation about earthbending goes towards his dad and how Fire Nation actually took him away. So let me explain something about their small town. The town is actually used by Fire Lord Oza to fuel his ship. So that's basically where their fuel source is coming from. Is from like these prison camps, and they're mining. So moving on from this part, we get to see where they get to stay, and it's actually like this barn. So Aang has this whole joke where Appa's like eating all their hay. He's like, I'll make sure that Appa doesn't eat all your hay, and Appa's face is just stuffed full of hay. So we wake up, it's the next morning, and Katara and the boy were kind of he was talking about how his father, and the only way that he can be close to him anymore was actually doing earthbending. And Katara mentions her necklace, and we get to know that her necklace is from her mother. And sadly, her mother did pass away in a Fire Nation raid, which I don't think it was mentioned so far. So that was an interesting detail that we get to know this episode. Um, During their conversation, well, after the conversation, pretty much, they go and they take kind of like a walk, and we hear an explosion, and the explosion comes from this mine. So there's this old man getting trapped, and there's this big rock on him, and the boy, we actually get his name in the conversation earlier. His name is Haru. So Haru was there with Katara trying to help him. They tried bulging, you know what I mean, picking it up. Um, that doesn't work. Katara basically tells him that you have to use the earthbending. He's he doesn't want to use it because he doesn't want to get taken away and leave his mom alone. Basically, it's forbidden, right? So he has to do it. So he goes ahead. He uses earth technique, and he pushes it away, and he saves the old man. And yeah, after this, what we do know is that it kind of goes back to them being in the barn, Or is it the barn where they were? I think actually what really happens is this. We know that the boy gets took away. Fire Nation in the middle of the night comes and they take him away from his home. The next morning comes by. Katara is getting water, and off in the distance we see his mother, and his mother's crying. It's very tragic and very emotional. Um, his mom's crying and she's upset. That's all we needed from that. From there, Katara has like this idea. She's like telling them that Haru got basically prisoned, and Katara wants to get arrested to basically go and get him out. So Katara then gets Aang to fake earthbending because that's the only crime I guess they're arresting you for in Fire Nation. And it would, I guess, get her to the same camp that he's going to get imprisoned to also. So they do the fake thing. It was Sokka and Katara having this stupid argument battle, and it was all about Sokka having big ears. From there, it takes Aang a little bit. At first they think the lemur was doing it whenever this boulder got lifted through this air vent that Aang actually lifted himself. And it was just funny from that point. Katara gets taken away. They take her away. I don't think they really believed it was her, but they're like, it's technically the truth, and they kind of need the help to help fuel that ship that Fire Nation have. I wouldn't be surprised if it's fueling all their ships, honestly. They just say his ship. So from there, we get to see Aang, Sokka, kind of hanging out in the rut of the crowd as the prisoners are getting boarded to the ship that Fire Nation has, and it takes them to their prison camp. And she's with like 5 other people, and they're giving her the lay down. The head guard, and this old man kind of coughed, and the guard goes, he uses his fire and he goes, it's disrespectful. So from there, she actually gets into the prison, and she's trying to look for Haru. So Haru is found. He talks to Katara, and Haru actually lets Katara meet his dad. So his dad is still alive, which is good, right? From there, Katara is just kind of talking to him, and we get to the big thing. Katara tries to lead a riot, and she tells him how her people were told of brave stories about Earth Nation and how brave fighters they were to protect their lands. And she was just trying to get some type of emotional rise to him, to get him to fight back. And instead of fighting back, they just don't go for it at all. So Haru's dad is like an OG. He's like the big man. He's the pod boss. He's kind of getting things together. He's helping the elderly. He's getting blankets for everyone. That was kind of the conversation before all that. He was kind of fixing things up. So no one was given a rise out of that. Katara was just kind of there alone, kind of in misery in her own part. And it was just like, dang, you kind of feel it. So these people, they weren't really, standing up for themselves. They gave up. They figured out they're powerless. So the thing I forgot to mention about this prison camp, it's actually all metal, and they're forced to dig. And I guess they're digging coal and metals and stuff like that. I'm not an expert in the field of mining, but that's my guess here. Anyway, from there, nightfall comes, and Aang and Sokka come with Appa, and they kind of sneak on the ship to wake up Katara. Katara comes back, and they're kind of like underneath the ship with Appa. and Katara and them are ready to escape, but Katara just doesn't want to do it. She wants to not just save the boy, she wants to save everyone she can on that entire ship. So it shows her as a character, how strong she is, and I feel like she's going to be a lot stronger character once she fully understands how to waterbend. So this is huge development in her, and it shows how great of a character she really is. She's really strong mentally, and she's very set. Well, in some ways, in this episode, it's very strong, at least. So, Katara goes back, and they kind of set this plan, and the plan is to get them to fight back. And in order for them to fight back, they need to bring some type of earth to actually bend. And so they get the idea that the coal that they're using to generate the heat is actually earth. And if they can get that, they can use their techniques and fight back. So what they do is in the morning time, Katara and Sokka and Aang get together. So Aang's inside this giant, I guess, forgery slash giant heater where they're using the coal, I guess, to power up the ships. I don't know. I don't fully understand the grasp of it. All I know is it's powering something and it's producing heat. He basically closes all these vents and he gets it to where the only vent is the one up top that works. And he shoots wind. Meanwhile, Katara and Sokka are both there. All the prisoners are around him. They're surrounded by guards. They have their little staff blade things and all pointed at them. And from there, they're getting ready to fight back. And the coal comes up. And it's the start. From there, Aang shoots up. And the main guy, that's the main prison guard there. God, I can't think of the name of the main prison guard. It's just not coming to me right now. So he's basically like, these people are powerless. They still show no will to fight. And it takes for Katara, Aang, and Sokka to all start fighting back before our good friend Haru throws the first piece of coal at them. And he's doing the thing that Aang does, and he's spinning the coal like Aang does the marbles, but using earth. And from there, the Fire Nation guards actually use their fire and they start trying to fire back at him. And it's this big attack. And, well, his dad, he throws up a wall and it protects him. So it just starts this big war where everyone just kind of stands up. And I think from this, we figure out that Haru's dad is actually the village's leader. At first, I thought he was just a fierce warrior, but I guess he's the village leader long ago before Fire Nation took over the little town that they had. I forgot to mention they were actually taxing their people as well and taking money from them. So they're just abusing these poor people and they're powerless forever. So they start fighting back. They're using these crazy earth techniques. Father son is just going off crazy and they're just throwing coal all over the place. Aang actually gets this one attack in where he makes this wind gun. So you have it's circular. It's kind of like a tornado, but mini. It goes from here to here, and he puts coal down it. So Katara and Sokka put coal in it, and it shoots at the guards, and it knocks them down. Since there's technically no death, they just fall down and get knocked out. It's the PG way to do things. So the dad of Haru is very much a hero. He lets everyone start to go to the ship while him and his son fight back, and I guess other people that are down to fight, ready to fight. I guess it's got to do with age, so I guess all the elders and everyone else kind of took off, and people that could fight stayed. So it was pretty crazy. What actually happens in this episode where the guards all get taken out? We had Momo taking up the weapons, so they're weaponless. And then in the end, to sink it all off, they actually use the rest of the coal and they pick up the guards that were knocked over by Aang, and they take them out towards the water and just drop them in. And yeah, we get to know from his father that basically he's going to go back to the village and things are going to be better. Our friend Haru, I think he was in love with Katara during this episode because he wants her to come back and stay at the village. Um, Actually, it's kind of crazy because this is like a little bit of a plot twist, but it brings back connections that I think we haven't seen for an episode. So Katara actually loses her necklace that was important to her, and who we see picks it up was Prince Zuko. So things are starting to connect, and he's starting to know that Aang's not traveling alone for sure. That these people are actually following with him. He knows, but now he knows that it's certain, and that he has to meet him again. So this was a very good episode. Probably one of my favorites so far. It's like something you'd see in a movie, but Nickelodeon to do this and be able to make this happen in a cartoon, it's brilliant. Um, this is like something we've seen in Naruto. It was actually happened, and it's I think it's really good. It's motivational, and it shows you shouldn't give up. You should fight for your cause. Um, this episode is definitely an 8.9 in my books for Avatar. I would say a 9, but we still don't know. In the end, I may do a tier list or something of the sorts. This is kind of like my explanation of what happened throughout the episode. So the general idea is that you guys just need to know is that Katara was heroic this episode. Haru, the boy, got taken away. He went to a prison camp. But I think the main thing that you see is that Aang and the gang saved another small town. So it gives them credibility, and they're putting themselves out there, and it's just another fun adventure nonetheless. So even if you don't include the main plots of things and what they did, it's very important. Anyway, tell me what you guys think of this episode. Do you think I was a little too harsh? Do you think my explanation was really bad? Let me know. I try to get this the best I can. I do this at random times. I'm kind of all over the place when it comes to these type of videos. I like to pre-record them. The most I'll ever do is 2 in a day. Um, Sometimes it's hard for me to memorize a lot of stuff that happens in certain episodes. But these cartoons, it's very much smoother rather than anime where 50 things can happen in an episode. So I have to at least write some names down just to keep it in my memory. But I enjoyed this episode. I want you guys to watch this episode. It's really worth watching. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great start to your week. And I wish you guys the best. Peace.